Today is a historic day, so it's April 20th, and in Poland, this is the first day that they've actually started taking the regulations back. So I mentioned how they used to have the parks were just totally off limits. People were congregating in the parks, and the city was empty, parks were full of people, and then started being really strict about not letting people go in the parks. We'll just do this for a minute. So you could actually get really a big fine if you're going in the parks and the police see you, and some people could, there's a story of two people in Krakow that were sitting on a bench. They both got about $3,000 fines. And today is the first day you're actually allowed to go in the parks. And there's talk of further dialing back restrictions. I don't think it's going to be totally like it was before anytime soon, but at least it's going in the other direction. The last thing we had was the masks. The masks are still staying. So I'm going to take a look around the park, because normally this would be a no-go zone. Normally I wouldn't want to go anywhere near there. And the tram's going by. And we're going to go back to Park Sołacki. So I've been here before, and I'm going to go around the Sołacz region. And I was here a little earlier, and there are people with masks going around, and police cars also right nearby. So it's kind of weird seeing a bunch of happy people running around, having these masks on, and police going around. But hopefully we can get a little glimpse of the scene and just see, because I think this is also, like I said, just going to be kind of a unique historical situation, because maybe they take the masks off at some point. Beautiful day to take a walk in the park, wearing a surgical mask. I see a guy running up ahead wearing a mask. See if I can find any police cars going around. I don't know if they were just here earlier or not. But yeah, there's definitely a much nicer life. I see definitely a bigger concentration of people there. Definitely not social distancing. Maybe they live together, so maybe it's allowed or something. Well, they reopened the park, but they definitely did not reopen the playground. And you can see they're being more subtle there than they were in Gniezno, but it's definitely good to see that no one's playing on it now like they were before. So you're riding a bike, wearing a mask. You get to see some babushkas walking around wearing masks. Kind of an interesting sight, another guy running with a mask. I think actually we're going to head to Rusalka. I didn't go there before, but there were a lot of people congregating there at some point before they started banning the parks. And after that, maybe Sołacz. Yeah, as I said before, the police are still kind of patrolling this area. We're on the way to Rusalka right now. So some guy's talking to the guy in the police van there, so Policja. Of course, that's police. That's pretty easy to guess. And I'm just surrounded by a bunch of people biking and running, so I want to move away. So this will take us to Rusałka Lake, and I have not been there in a few weeks at least since they shut the parks down. And I think everybody's taking advantage. There's a man with a baby there in the stroller jogging. And I think so many people are just stressed out being inside, having a harder time going outside running and getting some exercise, that probably today you're going to see way more than the next few days, I guess, just because finally there's really a different feel to today. I know last weekend when it was Easter, it really just felt empty and alone. It was the most emptiest I've seen Poznań. It was basically like a movie set empty, and now it feels like it's slowly starting to come to life, just like the spring weather that we're in. Things are slowly starting to wake up. There's still an eerie feeling to it that we have people walking around, or running around on the bike. Dzień dobry. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. We have some people going around with gas masks and everything, so it's not the same. There's still something a little weird to it, but I don't know. It's energizing me a little bit, just seeing people moving around, and really a lot of people on the bikes. So we're going to be getting to the lake pretty soon. And we are just getting to Rusałka Lake. Yeah, I don't know how to describe this because, like, if you didn't have the masks on, it would just be a postcard of, a nice day, people in the park. But yeah, that little detail, it really changes things a lot. I think people are maybe getting more friendly now because I think it's not just my attitude that's changing now that I'm feeling better, that people are out. Those guys back there are like, hey, what's up? Probably should have talked to them. Like, I think I've just been kind of like myself, more antisocial, just because, we're now thinking about like fearing getting close to people and passing on the virus and everything. And I don't know, maybe there's a little bit more optimism now. Here represents the dark history of this lake. So, and my understanding is in 1940 there were something like thousands of prisoners shot dead by the Nazis in the woods surrounding this. And also in 1943, I think some thousands of Jews died who were forced to help construct this artificial lake. So it's kind of nice until you realize what happened and why this lake is made. So, but this lake goes for a really long time. I'm not going to go around it, but there's a beach if you go further up ahead. I think we're going to go about as far as the beach and then go back because, I could just go around this whole lake and spend the whole day going in like the different forests and different passages. So we're going to go to the beach. We're going to see if anyone's doing anything on there because I'm actually really kind of curious now because if people are out doing all this stuff, it's very possible someone might be, out getting a tan on the beach or doing who knows what. So for historical interest, we want to find this out. What are people doing on the first day? So we take left to go to the beach. This takes us to more paths in the forest. And always got to make sure there aren't some bikes or something going by. Okay, no one right now. It's like crossing a busy street right now. Guy over there on the left is fishing. So I think some of the normal activities, not just running and biking, are returning. So this is the beach area on Rusałka Lake. And I think this has to be the first time I've ever seen anyone on a beach wearing a surgical mask. So this is something I think kind of unique and special. So I think this is about as far as I'm going to go around Rusalka. I just wanted to see what was on the beach. And definitely there are some people congregating here. We're going to head back east a little bit and go back to Sołacz now. I'm walking through the forest to the bus stop and I found something kind of mysterious. I don't know what this is. Let's get a little lower and look at this. FB 14 Roman numerals. No idea, but it's probably... Okay, it was FG. There's something here. So I guess this is something of some historical significance. Poznański Szlak Forteczny, some sort of fort. It's complicated. I can see there's not an English version. Let me shut this off and see if I can figure something out. Okay, so I looked at it. I'm not really quite sure what it says. The language I think is a little too complicated for my level of Polish. I think I read that something happened like maybe 1,000 years ago or in the year 1000. I think I read something about there being a fort surrounding Poznań and something happening in the 1880s. I'm not entirely sure what it said, but maybe someone can say in the comments what this thing was about. Oh, this is very cute. We have it's a deer, 2 deer. They're just kind of looking at me, and when I move, they darted off. This cute area just over there is where I saw the 2 deer. And this is, I've never really explored around here. Just right up ahead there is the bus stop that I need to get to. So I just made it back to Sołacz, and the sun is starting to go down, so I'm not going to stick around here that long. This is definitely not a dangerous part of town. I don't really think there even are any dangerous parts of town, but it's definitely a much more affluent area. There's tend to be, more expensive places here, very nice places. I'm right back next to Park Sołacki. Right now I'm on Litewska. So I have Park Sołacki on the left here. And here are some of the houses you can see in the area. Polish lesson here. So it says sklep rybny Łosoś. And so the letter there, the L with the line through it, it's kind of mysterious. I think, people haven't seen it before. That's like a W in English. It's like a W. So that means shop fish salmon. So something over here I wanted to show you. Always something a little bit mysterious. So look at that over there. It says ADHD, interactive. So does that mean attention deficit hyperactive disorder? If anyone knows, please let me know in the comments. And here what the neighborhood looks like. So this is one thing. So I have some of the houses over there, and then the Park Sołacki's on the left, and this is something that I think is a bit of a misconception. People sometimes think Poland's like the Soviet Union or something, and just Soviet apartment blocks, and just like every other country, there's a whole range of things. You do have some of that, but you still have neighborhoods like this. Looks like a little square, kind of over the other direction here we have Park Sołacki, and then there are a bunch of houses, and it's I don't think that this is exactly the most action-packed neighborhood, but I think it's definitely something worth seeing as a contrast to some of the other places that I'm going. So I think it's, for the most part, a peaceful place, and I don't think it's the sort of place where there's going to be, a huge amount of foot traffic. I mean, normally there are more people walking around here than, there are now. But, it's not like there's any clubs here. Some grocery stores, there's a park, some lawyers, some doctors have their, places of work here. It is definitely better than the middle-class neighborhood in the suburb of Detroit I grew up in. I grew up in Royal Oak, Michigan, and it was totally, I think, an average place when I grew up. I think, sometime after I left, it became a bit trendier. But for example, that house over there, it's way nicer than my childhood home that I grew up in. One thing, that's a difference between Poland and the US, the average income here is, of course, substantially lower, but, the costs are lower as well. And so people tend to, live more, at least in the city, they live more in apartments than they do in, houses. I mean, there's still some of these houses here, and, we see there's a couple, even mansions here. So another difference too is, if you can see that even when you have houses, there's, less of a lawn culture. People have gardens more than lawns. And, of course, this is ecologically much more beneficial. Nothing, you see over there even, it's more plants than lawns. So I think that's really actually kind of a good thing, because I don't think this whole deal with American lawns is bad. And, look there, you have kind of two that are very different. That one's not kept up too well, and then the other one is. But for the most part, everything here is pretty well taken care of, I think. You have a porta potty. They call that, another Polish lesson. And a porta potty in Polish, they call it toj-toj. So it can be like a gdzie jest toj-toj. Where is the porta potty? And this post office is actually open. So Poczta Polska, that means post office. So I guess today is about the language lessons. So we have, this is looks like a pretty nice preschool, Montessori. Prywatne przedszkole Montessori. So that means private Montessori preschool. And just because we're doing some language lessons right now, Bambi będzie dobrze. So that means Bambi will be good. So that's the future tense. So very basic Polish, but it sometimes even takes a little while to get there when you're learning Polish, because it's a very complicated language. But at least that version of future tense is fairly simple. Sołacz has its own university, so let's see if we can read this a little closer. Universitet Przyrodnicze, so that stands for Nature University. And I've never actually been on the campus. It doesn't really look so pretty, to be honest, but there it is. This is kind of funny to me. So we have yet another private Montessori preschool. So I kind of almost feel that private Montessori preschools are kind of as common in Sołacz as Jeżyce are, and the rest of the town. So I don't know why specifically this is something popular in this neighborhood, but probably if we just walk for a little bit, over there, we can probably find another, and I'm sure probably around another corner we can find another one too. And as I've said many times before, you can't go anywhere in Poland without finding a Catholic church. So I think this is the main Catholic church for this neighborhood, at least. Maybe there's even another, I don't know. But yeah, you got the church and you got the nice amount of space right here. And we go back that way to Park Sołacki. So I think there's also, there's a statue here as well. And did they leave candles or things for it? Okay, yep, I guessed it correctly. Yeah, this is definitely such a Polish thing to leave the candles. And this is a statue of Saint Jan Vianney, patron of Parafi. I have no idea what Parafi is. So I just wanted to take a little break from the video. So what I just showed you is, what the parks look like right after they open. And I think there are even more people than normal going to these parks. People were running around with their masks and all this other kind of crazy stuff. And I've had a bit of a backlog in videos, so it's actually been a lot easier for me, as it turns out, to shoot these things and to edit them. So I think my laptop is a bit underpowered. So I still have actually a few more videos around Poznań, and I'm honestly getting really kind of a little tired of the coronavirus stuff because, we're living in this and I kind of remembering happier times. So I think the next video I'm going to post is actually going to be from some of my trips from January that I haven't gotten to editing yet, like in the Czech Republic and then in Ukraine. And one of the videos I also didn't really get around to yet, there's one from March also where I also went to Park Sołacki. And it's totally different. This was before they banned going in the parks, so people were much more concentrated in the parks than they were in the old town. And I didn't want to post it as its own video because I think in a sense by itself it's obsolete, but I think it's an interesting contrast. So you can kind of see what the difference is. I think actually, back then, like I was seeing like, oh my God, the city center, it's so empty, and then the parks are so full. But now looking at it, actually isn't really that full. I think we just kind of adjust to the new situation. So I'm going to show you guys what Park Sołacki was like, and I also go through Kościelna Street and some of Jeżyce. And I don't have any cat with me right now, but I promise at the end of the video that at least one of them is going to appear. So here are the rules in Park Sołacki. I don't know. You can pause it if you want to read what they are. So there's going to be a bigger lake coming up ahead, but we have a lot of little water and stuff. And I think some kid was saying, probably he was playing there. So I think we're going to see a lot of people walking their dogs, a lot of people on bikes. It really is a nice day. Like, I just can't overstate that. And it's just a weird combination because we have this pandemic, the feeling of that, and it's just so nice being out. So I'm sure people just want to be out enjoying it, and it's hard to stay in. Most people I personally know are staying in and are kind of scared to go out actually, but I think there's still quite a lot of people that are out walking. Okay, it looks like it's not fenced off. Maybe they're just painting it, I guess. Or kind of smells like glue though. I don't want to smell too much of that. And so this is what I'm not entirely sure what's going on, because we have all these barrels in the lake, and I think that's a big restaurant on the other end over there. So we're gonna cross the bridge and keep walking. I don't like the smell of that too much. I think it was paint, but it kind of smelled a little bit like glue. One thing I've definitely noticed, there are a lot more ambulances. You could kind of hear it in the background. But I see, I think maybe there's fewer other things, I don't know. But like definitely for sure, I think I'm noticing more ambulances and police. And we can definitely see the type of architecture in this neighborhood. I like it. I'm kind of surprised to see it looks like the playground is actually open in the distance. We're going to check it out. I think I see a little kid on the swings or something like that. I thought I heard that the playgrounds are closed, but maybe they weren't. Definitely people are using the playground. This is a little worrisome. There's some there that were just packing up. They're going, touching everything. A couple over there digging, doing some stuff. There's probably a sign, I think I see, that says that we're not supposed to go on it, but definitely people are using it over there. I mean, it's fewer people than would be here normally. Probably there's some sort of sign. I think I see something here. Wyrama działań prewencja zwierząt z konoworysiem placowa zamknięta do uwolnienia. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's closed and people here just don't care. I mean, they're willing to spread the virus and just kind of play here. So, yeah, that's really not good. I think they need to do something about that. So this really has me worried because we're closing down all the schools, we're doing all this stuff, we're going all this effort, and people are still playing in the playgrounds. I mean, it's not like a huge number of people, but yeah, that really just kind of ruined my mood a little bit, to be honest. I mean, I think everyone else here is doing reasonable things. They're just, you know, walking around. They're not too close to each other, but you have some of that going on back there. I mean, I understand, you know, kids have a lot of energy, they're restless, but I don't think this is the only option. Still though, this weather and this view, it still kind of makes me happy though, so I guess I'll calm down a little bit about that. So I think I'm going to head back to Jeżyce, and I'm not going to take the tram. I'm going to go on Kościelna Street, which is pretty close to here, and there's some nice things to see on the way back. These above ground pipes always stood out to me. It's not the sort of thing I'm used to seeing. And there's a big kind of traffic choke point up there. There's this tunnel and traffic goes through there both ways. It's kind of hard to get around as a pedestrian as well. So here we're in Kościelna Street, and this takes us back in the direction of Rynek Jeżycki. Here we are at Lidl, which is a pretty big grocery store, and I think right now they're limiting themselves to 50 people in the store, so it's a pretty big place. I mean, it still maybe seems like more people than I would expect, so you can see the sign here. We're not going to go in right now. We have Biedronka here on Kościelna Street, and they have a similar notification about number of people, so they're specifying you need to stand at least 1 meter apart, and they're also they're also putting a limit of 50 people to enter the store as well. This part could be funny for many Americans though, that, you know, there's this huge toilet paper shortage in the United States, but here we have so much toilet paper it's even on sale. So if you have your Moja Biedronka card, you can go and you can get a big discount on toilet paper here. So as we're on Kościelny Street, what does the word Kościelny mean? And in Polish it means church. And my best understanding is that the street is named after that church. And so we're almost back at Rynek Jeżycki, which is the area of Poznań that I live in. And there's just really one more thing I want to do before I stay in for the rest of the day and just get some work done. And yeah, that's a nice słonik there. It's like a little baby elephant. It's one of these basically dollar stores, and you can find Star Wabs Legos or fake Scooby-Doo Legos or other weird stuff like that. Last thing I got to do before I go back, I got to get some kitty litter, and then I think that's going to be it for the day. So hopefully we can find a pet store that's open. If not, it's really not urgent. I can do it tomorrow. Yeah, there's the Rynek, the main market over there. I think there's a pet store if we go along this direction. We're just kind of heading south from Rynek Jeżycki. You can see in this window what the the typical Polish family looks like. There's mom and the kids dressed exactly like that. Too bad that the store's closed. And just like before, I'm noticing a pattern with this, that there really are a lot of people out during the day when it's light out. And it's not really at sunset yet. We have another maybe hour or so, but people start to really go in after that. It's another church. There are a lot of churches in Poland. And a lot of very nice, beautiful churches. Well, definitely this looks quite scary with the biohazard symbol. It looks like it's open. Maybe the other one was open and there was just some sort of maximum they had on it. I don't know. Oh, we're gonna go over here. Yeah, it's the nice grounds of the church too. Now, when I was first in Europe, these old, beautiful European churches were so interesting, but there's just so many of them now that it's just, I mean, they're still pretty, but it just doesn't really stand out to me as much anymore. Okay, so I think we gotta go over here. Yeah, I see it. It's pretty close. Yeah, this shop is really closed and bagged up. There's Mood Scent Bar, and maybe that's open. It seems like the beauty supply stores tend to be open. Chemicolor, Komputerowa Mieszalnia, I think, well, something computer related. I'm not sure what the rest of that means. Okay, so let's see if we're lucky enough for this to be open. Okay, so there's a maximum of 2 people, so I think there's someone inside, so I'm gonna stop filming for a little bit. Well, fortunately that was a success. I was getting a little bit worried, but I was able to get 8 kilograms of kitty litter. So I think that's gonna be it for the day, so I'm gonna go back and relax and get some work done. So that's it. It's March 19th, and I just had to take my cat to the vet, so he's sick, obviously not with coronavirus, but he's having problems with his nose and with some antibiotics, and he hates going to the vet, so I took him out just as a treat right afterwards. This is the courtyard around the building that I live, and he likes to just go around and kind of eat grass, hiss at maybe another cat that he finds, look at pigeons. Sometimes he wants to try to climb this tree, but we don't want him to do that. So I take him out here as a reward anytime that he goes, usually when he goes to the vet. He or she really hates, like I said. I'll take him out here for some time and he calms down. And I have another cat, his sister, and she's upstairs right now. I would take her out too, but it's easier just to go directly from the vet to outside. Maybe I'll take them out both out here later. So he is done with his antibiotics now, just like the other day finished. So hopefully that was interesting for everyone to see the contrast and how it's changed. You know, I feel now is an interesting time that things are, you know, really changing kind of on a weekly basis. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, you know, let me know if there's anything else you might find interesting. And like I said before, I'm going to be probably mostly finishing these videos around Poznań pretty soon. I mean, maybe I'll go somewhere else. I don't know what. Funny cat, I know. He jumps up here, then sometimes he wants down or whatever, and he walks around and spins around on the shoulders. So anyways, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and if there's somewhere else, you know, I'm kind of interested in maybe going somewhere else in Poland, maybe to Wrocław or somewhere else, but I want to post a few more videos first, just kind of get this done, get some of my backlog through, and then I might go.